Now, a Target 12 investigators exclusive losing ground. Homeowners in Warwick could be on the hook for a hidden tax, even if they don't live near the water.
Research shows people in Warwick may have to dish out thousands of dollars in flood damage and may not know it.
If you want to try to guard against the ocean, it's an expensive thing to do.
Target 12 investigator Tolly Taylor joins us now in studio with the details.
Research from the First Street Foundation shows Warwick had the second highest estimated cost for flood damage of any city or town in Rhode Island last year. And over the next 30 years, that research shows residents there can expect those costs to increase by 45%. 8 to 12 feet of water. That's what Michael Bradbury's store in Warwick will almost certainly be facing the next time a 1 in 100-year storm hits Oakland Beach.
If it was serious enough, we'd be packing up and leaving.
Bradbury says he knew Warwick is vulnerable to flooding, but before talking to Target 12, he didn't know how severe the risk is for the area where he lives and works. A 100-year storm has a 1% chance of happening each year. This is what Oakland Beach would look like during a 100-year storm, with a majority of the peninsula, including Bradbury's store, under 8 to 20 feet of water. When Warwick conducted a risk assessment in 2019, it found there were 1,385 residences in a floodplain across the city. If a 100-year storm like the one in 1954 hit Warwick today, it estimates total potential building damages would hit nearly $200 million and puts expected economic loss at about $144 million. Bradbury says there's been no warnings about the area's flood risks. Densely populated with many low-income residents, Oakland Beach is even more vulnerable to a large storm than the rest of the city. Warwick Planning Director Tom Kravitz says a storm like that could come as a shock.
It's been such a long time since this area has had a direct hit from a storm. Even a Category 1 storm that's to our west, I think would surprise people.
In 2021, the First Street Foundation looked at the growing cost from flooding statewide. Warwick ranked second for the greatest estimated loss for that year, with residents paying a combined $890,000 in flood damage. Warwick also ranked number 2 for the highest projected cost for the next 30 years, paying an estimated $1.3 million, a 45% increase. So for the average Warwick property owner with flood risk,
that means on average every year, this is how much you should be expecting to pay in terms of economic damage from flooding.
Jeremy Porter is the Chief Research Officer at the First Street Foundation.
Of course, if an event hits, it's going to cost more than that. So really what that is that spreading that out over time.
For homeowners that can't rebuild, the city would lose out on that tax revenue, a financial burden that would be shouldered by the rest of Warwick homeowners. At the end of the day, the only option for some people in low-lying areas will be a difficult one.
I mean, sometimes you just have to move, and I think that's an important thing to consider as well.
Do you see that as a possible path Oakland Beach might have to take, or other parts of Warwick?
In certain parts.
The cost of property damage each year from flooding isn't the only thing Warwick residents have to worry about. Coming up at 6, find out how many city residents are lacking flood insurance protection. With the Target 12 investigators, I'm Tolly Taylor, 12 News.
New details now in a Target 12 investigators exclusive losing ground. Research shows many Warwick residents don't have federally mandated flood insurance, and for many who do, it's inadequate.
As we told you at 5, research shows residents in Warwick may have to dish out thousands of dollars in flood damage, and they may not know it. Target 12 investigator Tolly Taylor joins us with the details.
Insurance is a crucial tool in guarding against the costs of flood damage, but data shows many Warwick residents living in flood zones don't have it. If a 100-year storm hits Warwick, which has a 1% chance of happening each year, flood mapping data shows chunks of the city will be underwater. Take Warwick Neck.
It could be cut off, and absent of a major civil engineering effort to raise the roadway or something, I don't know how you would deal with that.
But Warwick Planning Director Tom Kravitz also points to what the city has already done to fortify infrastructure, including getting a $400,000 grant to move back an eroding road and building a $225,000 splash pad that doubles as something to absorb stormwater.
I think we're doing all we can with the funding that we have at this point.
But that 100-year storm, when it hits, would mean flooding levels leading to Warwick Neck will be between 4 and 16 feet deep, transforming the peninsula into an island.
you've got to just be prepared and be ready to move, you know, when a storm comes in certain parts of the city.
But for those people who have to leave their homes during a big storm, if they return to a destroyed house, how protected are they? In 2019, Warwick had 1,385 properties in a floodplain across the city. Of those, just 905 had federally mandated flood insurance policies in the floodplain that year. In 2022, that number dropped to 556. For residents without flood insurance, Jeremy Porter says the risks are clear.
That can mean a lot of things. It can mean having to abandon your home, not being able to actually replace the home.
Porter, a researcher who assesses flood risk, says Warwick is not unique. Only about a third of people in flood zones nationwide comply with the mandate. And he says a big reason for that is the lack of transparency around the importance of flood insurance.
The types of models that we're developing, they exist in the world, but they exist in a black box. Institutional investors have access to them. Mortgage companies have access to them. Banks have access to them. Regular people don't have access to the information.
When homeowners don't understand the importance, Porter says they often let their flood insurance lapse.
People will get it as a requirement to purchase the home, but then they won't renew after year number 1, or they won't renew after year number 5.
Porter's research shows even for those who do have flood insurance in Warwick, it's not enough. In 2021, city residents in flood zones paid close to $900 on average, when Porter says they should be paying about $2,500 a year.
So if that 1 in 100 year storm hits, what could happen?
Not having enough in terms of insurance coverage, if you do have it, to actually replace the value of what was destroyed.
Porter says that's a problem even for people who don't live in a flood zone, because when homeowners can't afford to rebuild what was destroyed, the rest of the community foots the bill.
It leaves the other individuals in the community to have to basically carry the burden of the tax base that existed prior to the event.
Porter warns people not to rely on FEMA flood zone maps to assess their risk. The State Storm Tools data mapping website gives more detailed information on flooding by address. We will link to that on our website, WPRI.com. With the Target 12 investigators, I'm Tali Taylor, 12 News.